Let's say you've been a doctor, a lawyer, an Indian chief for many years, but now, through no fault of your own, that's all ended, and you've been forced into career change. One of the scariest things going. So how do you overcome that fear? I'm Sarah Heiner, president of Bottom Line Publications, and this is our Conversation with the Experts, where we get the answers to your tough questions from our leading experts. Today, I'm talking to Nancy Collamer, a leading career coach, speaker, and author of Second Act Careers, 50-plus ways to profit from your passions during semi-retirement. So welcome, Nancy.
Thanks for having me.
So when somebody gets their career ended upon them, do they go through almost like a grieving process that they have to go through to deal with that sudden change?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. They do go through a grieving process. Your work is part of your identity. It also provides you a routine. It's the people who you're around every day, and when you suddenly lose that, it can be a very, very scary transition.
Let alone you've just been judged and you've been told you're a failure.
Absolutely.
In some ways.
The truth of the matter is that even when you undergo career change, when it's by choice, it's also a scary process. You know, we are wired to find change scary. I think it's there to protect us. One of my favorite stories from my book is I interviewed a woman who had been a cop on Coney Island. She had been NYPD for 20 years, was able to take early retirement. She ended up becoming, believe it or not, a stand-up comedian.
I remember this story. It's a great story.
Yeah, and the reason I love her story is because when I interviewed her about the transition and how she ended up doing what she does today, one of the things that she pointed out to me was how scary it was that first time that she went on stage and how she was absolutely paralyzed the first time somebody asked her to send them her headshot and her bio, and she did nothing. And I said to her, you know, why is that? And of course she laughed and she said, you know, I'm someone who's used to arresting criminals and carrying a gun. And so I'm used to feeling scared in that sense. But this was a whole new ballgame. So like I said, it is part of the process.
Once they're done grieving and feeling sad and feeling sorry for themselves and all of those sorts of painful emotions, what do? How do they constructively overcome the fear to create a new career and a new life?
Yeah. A therapist once said to me, fear is just an acronym for false evidence appearing real. And so how do you get past that false evidence? Well, you need to try things out in small doses. So doing things like taking a class or maybe trying a project in a new area, just getting out there and speaking with people and doing informational interviews. You know, the more you learn and the more you do, the more comfortable you're going to get in this new field. And there's something called a competence circle. And when you think about it, what I mean by that is when you start to work at something new, you begin to gain confidence. And as you gain confidence and you become more competent at what you're doing, then the confidence builds and it becomes really a self-fulfilling prophecy. You get more comfortable with things. So it's about getting out there, trying new things, testing things out, but doing it in small pieces. And bit by bit, you'll start to feel more confident and more comfortable.
And is there any difference if they've been fired for whatever reason or laid off and they want to stay within their sphere of experience versus they really want to go jump into a whole new place, take it as an opportunity to pursue their dream career? Is it really still the same thing of one step at a time?
Yeah, it is pretty much one step at a time. I mean, you're going to have to obviously learn a lot more if you're going into a new field. And it's not just about learning new skills, it's also about creating a whole new community of people. And I think that brings us to the other point that's very important for people to keep in mind is that surround yourself with people who are going to be supportive during this transition and find that new tribe, so to speak. And that way you can really meet new people, you can learn from them, they can help support you through the transition, and that can make a tremendous difference because when you sit in your house and you stay isolated from other people, that ends up becoming just a downward spiral and the fear suddenly takes over your life. So surrounding yourself with supportive people is really a critical step to take.
All right. Great advice, Nancy Collamer. The bottom line is, if you're faced with sudden career change, feel bad. It's okay. Go through that emotional pain. But you have to come out the other side. So one step at a time. Don't get yourself overwhelmed. Bit by bit, like so many things. Start out. Do a little bit of research. Go find new circles of people to connect to. Create a support group and have connections, because you need to build new connections if you've had a long network of people that you're now separated from. And then increase your sphere of competence, which will increase your sphere of competence. One step at a time, and you'll be able to get a whole new career and a whole new love in your life.